I want to turn next to an idea coming from a number of the Democratic folks looking to be the Democratic candidate for president in 2020. And they're talking about Codetermination. This comes from Germany. In German, it's called Mitbestimmung. And here's what it means. That the idea in Germany, and this has been true in Germany for decades, is that because workers, employees are affected in every business where they're employed, they ought to have a say, it's a notion of democracy, in the decisions made in that business. So the way the Germans worked that out with their commitment to democracy was to say that a certain number of seats on the board of directors of every company have to be filled by workers who are elected to those positions by other workers. So that in most large German corporations, for sure, a little under 50%, less than 50% of board of director seats are filled by workers who are elected by other workers. And it's a notion of stakeholders. The workers should be represented because they have to live with the decisions the board of directors in any company makes, so they should be there. In the United States, of course, we have none of that. The vast majority of boards of directors have never had a worker on them, and those that have had any of it have had one, or maybe sometimes two. So you see that it's absent in the United States, which is why the idea is coming. But lest anyone get too carried away with the novelty of this idea, now that you know it isn't a novelty at all, it exists in Germany, which has been a very successful capitalist economy, let's remember this is a minor reform. Sure, it's better than having no workers, but it reminds me of the history of when we got rid of monarchy and kings. When kings used to rule us, particularly here in the Western world, there were no parliaments. The king did whatever he wanted, and nobody could do anything about it. People got angry and upset because they had to live with the king's decisions but had no power over them, so they pressed to have a parliament. The king refused, but when he couldn't refuse anymore, he allowed a parliament, but he wouldn't be bound by anything the parliament decided. So then the parliament pushed for more, and eventually, you know what happened? The parliament took all the power and eliminated the king. There are no more kings, except in a few countries that haven't made it that far yet. It's the same story here. The workers and the community and the customers of a business are the ones who care most about it and who depend on it. And they ought to be the ones making the decision, not simply the people who bought shares in the company. The idea that they alone should make all the decisions, which is how it is in the United States and in so many other parts of the world, is the weird idea, like kingdom, that ought not to exist in the larger society. Why do we have little kingdoms inside our workplaces? And that issue is being broached at least a little bit by talking about co-determination, the workers participating in shaping what corporations do. It's long overdue.